Hello, everybody. I am alive, unfortunately. That sounds very bad. Yes, but I'm alive. It was very not nice of me to just leave you like that. But, I'm back due to nobody's request. And I'm back doing your audios. So, yeah. So, it's been a while. I'm going to be doing the first chapter from my own book on Quotev, Circus Katie on Quotev. I'll link it down below. It's just barely living. I started this, I think, in 2018 or 19. Yeah, it's definitely had its run through, but it's a book that was very personal to me, and when it was basically my form of therapy. I am getting off topic, but this is just the first chapter, and it's highly inspired off of Expect the Unexpected by Arctic Vulpex on fanfiction.net. Definitely, if you've not seen that, go read it. It is the best thing that your eyes will ever be graced with. I could not ever do something as good as that. A work of genius that story is, but my story is a crack version of that, with 9-year-old children and a reader insert, so my chat seems to really like it, so let's see what YouTube thinks. I will stop boring you all now with my exceedingly long intro and get on with the video. Just Barely Living by me. FNAF belongs to Scott Cawthon. YN belongs to you. Plotline belongs to me. Thank you. Chapter 1. Meet some people, lose some people. I'm poor. That's all there is to it. My parents got too drunk and threw me out. I was only 7, now 9. None of the orphanages seemed to want me, so I lived on the streets, and I've mastered the art of befriending stray animals, pickpocketing, and hiding. Stupid policemen always just had to check the alleyway I'm in, not the ones next to me, just mine. I can't provide for myself much longer. I've been looking for a job for a while now, and with winter approaching, I need a place to stay. Even though I've survived a winter already, just barely, it's supposed to be a record cold year, as I heard a couple discussing, and I've tried everywhere. Nobody will take the offer. So here I am, at my last resort. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. I didn't know whether I wanted to take my chances of staying at a knockoff Chuck E. Cheese, especially with this bad history of murder, but it's my only resort. Hopefully it had heat, as it was cold outside and was raining. Not a good combination for me and my weak immune system. I pushed the door open, stepping into the thankfully heated building, and the check-in desk was to my left, and in front of me was the entrance to the main dining room. I heard children laughing, and I got internally jealous. Why did they get to have fun while I suffered? And they complained about things that I could only dream of having. I went up to the lady at the desk, and she looked at me with surprise. I probably looked like a mess. I could only finger brush my hair, and I tripped several times on the way here, tearing up my face, arms, and neck. My long-sleeve shirt had been ripped to short sleeves, hiding in a bush, and my overalls had been muddied, no doubt. "Honey, what happened to you? Where are your parents?" she asked, coming around the desk to kneel in front of me. It's a long story. Do you have any towels, please? I shivered, even in the heat. I think I had a cold again, but my throat felt fine. She stood up, grabbing my hand. You look like you need more than a towel, hun. Follow me. She leads me into the main dining room, where humanoids were not performing at the moment. I knew them, of course. My mom had brought me a lot back when we were still a happy family. They were robots meant to look like humans for the kids, but with the animal-like features to make them look more fun. Chica, the chicken, was the hardest to notice since she wasn't human. She only had feathers on the top of her head to help, but it looked a lot like messy hair. They were roaming around, talking to the kids, checking on the food. As we were walking, the bunny looked over and met my eyes. He seemed confused that I was with a worker. Said worker was talking to another employee, still holding my hand. I looked down, breaking eye contact, and then looked at the other two animatronics, who had met back together on stage and were talking. Bonnie then walked over to them, joining in the conversation. He pointed towards me, saying something I can only guess was about me. The other two looked over towards me, and I looked towards some other kids playing some game I didn't know of. I had also perfected the art of not getting caught staring. Before they could do anything, the worker turned back to me, getting my attention. Hey, we're going to bring you to the workers' room. We're going to get you all cleaned up, okay? I nodded, following her. Looking back, I saw the other workers she had been talking to approach Freddie and said something to three of them. They nodded as Chica and Bonnie went backstage and Freddie went to get the first aid kit off of the stage. We reached the room and she gestured for me to sit on the couch. I did, and she told me to stay there. She walked out and then came right back in with a towel and a wet washcloth. She sat in front of me in a chair and handed me the towel and started cleaning my right arm, dried of blood and mud. So, kid, what's your name? She asked, looking at me. Wyan, ma'am, I said quietly. Well, Wyan, where's your mommy and daddy? Why weren't they with you when you came in? She finished my right arm and moved on to my left. They're dead. I've been living by myself for 2 years now. I lied. They were happy and fine living their best lives without me. Oh, well then, you don't have a caretaker then? No, all the orphanages are full. Another lie. I just don't want to have to live with other kids unless necessary. It wasn't another couple minutes passed until the silence was broken. The door opened, revealing the bear, Freddie, holding a first aid kit. You needed this? He asked, looking at the employee, and then at me, confused. Yes, Freddie, thank you, she said, taking the kit. He nodded before leaving, but not until he looked at me again. I smiled at him slightly before using the towel to help me warm up. So, how'd you get all these nasty cuts and bruises? She said while bandaging my arm. I tripped a lot, and the concrete wasn't so nice to me. She giggled a little and then cleaned off my neck and face. Must be horrible, you poor thing, all alone outside in this weather. She finished bandaging me up and I looked her in the eyes. About that, I was wondering if I could speak to the manager. Now she seemed very confused, but I can't exactly blame her. Why would a 9-year-old want to speak to the manager? Okay, I'll go get him. I may be a bit, so here. She handed me a hairbrush. You may want to brush out your hair. Once you're done, you can go watch a show, okay? I nodded, smiling. She walked out, and I quickly brushed it before running outside to watch them perform. It had been years since I was last year, so I was pretty excited. Unfortunately, I came just as the show was ending, but at least I got to see part of it. The animatronics got off stage, as they normally do, and played with all the kids. I decided it would be best to avoid the animatronics, because they probably would try and ask where my parents are and cause a whole scene. Some parents had already came up and asked, and I told them 54 Maple Street, first graveyard to the left, 100 meters in, row to the right, gravestones 56 and 57. The look on their faces was priceless. I preferred to stay on the low, although a group of kids seemed to be playing pranks on everyone, and I was half tempted to go over and join them. Before I could, though, Freddie went back up on the stage with Bonnie and Chica. Alright, everyone, the pizzeria will be closing in 30 minutes, but we wanted to give y'all one last show, Freddie announced as the band got ready and all the kids went up to the stage cheering. I decided to go up with them. I probably looked suspicious enough coming in bruised, but better not make it worse. And let time skip until after the show. The show ended after a couple of minutes, and all the kids went, rather reluctantly, back to their parents. Many had headed out, while some stayed to enjoy a final slice of pizza. I had gotten my hands on the craft box and was sitting near Pirate's Cove, drawing on a blank piece of paper. I drew a Christmas tree and was experimenting on how well Crayola blended. Surprisingly, they blended very nice. I'd been drawing for a little while now before someone came up to me. I didn't notice at first, too absorbed in my drawing. Hey, kid! I nearly jumped 5 feet in the air, the paper flying out of my hands and my throat making a pathetic yelping sound. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. It was Chica. She was kneeling in front of me, politely smiling. It's almost closing time and I saw you all by yourself? Where are your parents? So that's why she was here. I decided not to use my gravestone excuse, instead for once being truthful. 47th Street, second mansion to your left. They kicked me out about 2 years ago, so I live on my own now. She looked horrified. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. It's fine, I said, brushing it off as if I had just lost a game of sorry or something. I'm doing just fine on my... And I went into a coughing fit. Way to contradict yourself, YN. You're trying to make it look like you're okay, and it makes it look like you're sick. Great job. I stopped coughing and looked at her. Now she seemed more concerned. Sorry about that. It's not your fault, hon. Here, come with me. I can get you something to drink. She stood up and offered her hand to me, and I took it. She led me back to the main room and sat me down on a table. Hold on 1 sec. I'll be right back. She walked away, presumably to the kitchen. It felt odd being the only kid there. It felt like there were a million eyes on me, even though nobody was here. I stared at the table. Man, who knew being alone was so freaking awkward? Hey there, kid. And I jumped 6 feet in the air again. Wow, I got startled very easily. Whoa there, kiddo. We didn't mean to startle you. I looked up from the table to see Bonnie and Freddie standing there. Uh-oh. Hi. And I went off of myself and again in my head for studying. I'm Freddie, and this is Bonnie. Freddie introduced themselves, even though I already knew their names. I must look like a new face to them, which didn't surprise me very much. What's your name, kid? Bonnie asked, tilting his head. My name is YN. Again, with the frickin' stutter. Seriously, why was I so nervous? They're just androids. Yeah, keep thinking that. Anyways. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, YN, Freddie said. We noticed you came in with a worker and you seemed hurt. Ah, so they came to ask my name and then point out my injuries. Normal. We came to check on you, see if you were okay. Bonnie added, well, that's new. Normally people just come up to me and say, hey, you're bleeding, you have a cut, your leg is spurting blood onto my grass. You need to stop it. Yeah, I tripped a couple of times on the way here. Wasn't a total lie. I just left out the part of being pushed and trampled and then being pushed into the road and almost run over by a trucker a couple times. See, not so bad. Ouch, that must have hurt, Bonnie said, wincing. Yeah, the concrete wasn't so nice to me. Freddie and Bonnie chuckled at my comment, making a small smile appear on my face. I'm back, YN, Chica said, skipping over. Sorry, the fridge water was broken and we don't serve tap water, so all I have was chocolate milk. She set it in front of me, and I quietly thanked her, taking a small sip. It tasted heavenly. I haven't had anything chocolate in years. I took another sip, more like a gulp, making Chica laugh. I must have looked ridiculous getting so excited over milk, but I couldn't help it. Freddie and Bonnie chuckled again. I see you've met my friends, YN, Chica said, as I took a break to breathe. I nodded, smiling. It looks like you like that milk, Bonnie said, and I nodded again. When you've barely had any food for 2 years and been deprived of chocolate for 4, chocolate all of a sudden seems less like food and more like heaven, I said, and then took another drink of the milk. The glass was super big, almost half the size of my leg. It looked like Freddie was about to say something when an employee from before came over to me. Hey, YN, the manager's ready for you. And that got a good reaction for the animatronics. They all looked very confused, and I wish I had a camera. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chica, so much for the drink. How much do I owe? I asked, standing up. I had finished it rather quickly, which was impressive considering how big the glass was. Oh, don't worry about it, sweetheart. It's on the house, she answered, taking the glass from me and back to the kitchen. Bonnie and Freddie had returned to stage right now. As the worker took me back to the manager's office, I turned and smiled at them, waving a little bit. They waved back, which made me smile more. Now it was time to see if I could convince the manager to help me. My life was in the hands of a pizzeria. Of course, I would mess up on the second to last line, but it is 1:51 a.m. and I am tired, but I'm not going to sleep because I have to go tell my boyfriends good morning because they both go to school because I got 2 boyfriends, and my biggest flex is they're both famous. They are both famous. Maybe another video I'll give you guys their socials and just like mass flood them to freak them out. That'd be so funny. Anyways, that was the end of my horribly written chapter. Like I said, this is a book that I started at least 3 to 4 years ago, so please don't make fun of it too much. I'm also reading this completely sleep deprived, one read through, one take. I'm tired. I want to sleep. Am I going to? No, because I have no regard for my health whatsoever. Hopefully, I'm not going to leave for another year, I can tell you that. Why? Because I'm going to high school, and I don't want to do homework, so guess who has a new hobby? Yeah, so unlike me, I hope everyone's getting a fair amount of water, eating, sleeping properly. I'm looking at all of the people who are still simping over my dream video. Get your asses to bed. It is almost 2 a.m. You need sleep. If I just called one of you guys out, I will be very happy with myself. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this in the comments. And as always, I will see you in my next sleep deprived video. Bye!